So this is the sound of one voice, the voice of voices singing in harmony. This is what it sounds like. You just felt what it feels like, right? Did you feel it? Could you feel it? More than just a thought, more than just an experience, but a full feeling. Charles Fillmore, in the book Revealing Word, which is a book of definitions and terms and ideas and consciousness, talked about a few things that I want to read to you. I'm just going to give you a few definitions, and it's up to you to put them together in whatever way you see fit. Sanctuary of the soul, the secret place within man-woman's being where he or she has a rendezvous with God. Charles Fillmore. The duality of man. Man, woman is a duality in seeming only. A unit when he knows himself. His ignorance of himself and his relation to God is the cause of seeming duality. When wisdom comes to him and he makes wisdom his own, there is no longer a war between the ideal man in God and the becoming man in the Lord God. The cells of the body, structural and functional units of organisms made up of atoms composed of electrons and protons, which in reality have their origin in the supermind. These cells are adjusted, one to the other, through associated ideas. When divine love enters into man's thought process, every cell is poised and balanced in right order. Law and order rule in the cells of the body with the exactness that characterizes their action in the worlds of a planetary system. I'll give you a moment to digest that. Harmony. Divine harmony. Perfect accord with the goodness, the beauty, and the righteousness of omnipresent Spirit. Everything is governed by a fixed law, and harmony is its expression. This is illustrated by the living body, which is a sensitive instrument, responsive to the touch of the Master, the I Am. Beautiful, huh? Our beginnings, our foundation. So how do we separate ourselves from this beauty, this magnificence, this principle, this law, this activity that is the very reason we all come together to join in consciousness in this spiritual practice we call unity? What gets in the way? If we were going to use some of today's terms, we could say the ego. We could say separation consciousness. We could say the idea and concept of lack, the idea and concept of power and power struggles, right? We could go on and on all day, and we could start flowering out that which keeps us separate from this energy, this field of consciousness where we feel like the very energy and force field that is keeping the planets in motion is active at work in my life, in my body temple, in my world. If we stand on one foot, sometimes we feel grounded in that principle. Then sometimes we move over to the other foot and we are less stable than we've ever felt in our entire lives. You know what I'm saying? And that can happen in an instant when we look out at our world and we validate, we verify, we collect evidence for one or the other. So what are we here to collect evidence for? What are we here to generate evidence for? What are we in our individual lives creating evidence for on earth? The choice is up to us. That's one of the beauties of the spiritual life and the spiritual practice. It's all about you, and what you would like to be in this world. As much as we'd like to say it's all about God and what God would have you be, there's that spot, that place, where God is not something that happens to us. God is not something that is thrown at us. Rather, it's something that we have to catch in our consciousness and be able to demonstrate and activate. Otherwise, we stand alone, separate in our beings and our lives and go, where is it? Where is it? Where is it? I'm here, I'm willing, I've prayed, I've thought, I've been told, where is it? It can be hard to find it if it's not coming to you, through you, and expressing as the co-creative and loving faculties that are you and that are present everywhere in equal amounts in this universe. Everywhere. We say God, the good omnipotent. We say God is omniscience. God is all power. God is all wisdom. God is everywhere present. That means that the spiritual fabric of this universe is that everywhere, in every space, every time, without fail, the allness of what we consider source. And I challenge us to expand that even to the idea, the concept that is everything even beyond what you could even ever understand as source. Beyond that. Far beyond that, everywhere present, absolutely awake and alive in our beings and in our world. Amen? So again, back to the problem. Has anyone ever bought a lottery ticket? Just for a moment, feel how that would feel. Has anyone ever won the lottery, like big time? Come on. Tell us who you are, because we're ready to have some fun. No. There's some people that I know that have won the lottery. I have my grandmother's sister who lives in Florida. She won one of those huge, it was either the New York or the Florida lottery, but it was one of those big ones that forever you don't have to worry about anything. And it's really beautiful because she has a son, a distant cousin of mine, who was in an accident. There was a drunk driving accident when he was, I think, still in high school. And so he has, very special needs and will always need to be taken care of. Imagine that, right? To think that forever you have no worries. Even after you're gone, you have no worries that the best care will be there for your loved one. But back to the lottery ticket. Imagine if just for a moment you have that lottery ticket in your hand, and if you want to just look at it in your hand or close your eyes and just feel it and you have it, and a lot of us have probably played this game, right, where you sit there and you overthink it. You think, oh, I'm going to bless this, and what does this mean? What does that mean? Oh, what would it feel like, right? What would it feel like if they call out the numbers? And then maybe you have that little part in you that gets kind of excited, but then says, come on, stop being silly. It's not going to happen. Come on, it's going to happen. It's not going to happen. But just feel that lottery ticket and feel the emotions and the thoughts within your body as you get it, that those are in fact the numbers, that you have won, that it happened and you got it. Can you feel that? Just breathe into that. Okay. Now feel for a moment that you just won the house. I don't know if they still do this, but the HGTV sweepstakes giveaway, the house, right? There was one time that there was a house on Lake Lure where Dirty Dancing was filmed, and I so wanted to win that house. Does anyone remember that house? Oh, it was a house, this gorgeous wood house with outdoor, indoor, everything. Oh my gosh, I thought all of the people I would support if I had that house. Beautiful. So think for a moment if you were watching HGTV and you stuck your name in the sweepstakes and they called and they said, you got that house. You got the house of your dreams. And now think for a moment if you were walking through a mall or somewhere and you put in a card, and when they picked the card, for some contest, you won a day with 10 great friends on a pontoon boat, all expenses included for an afternoon of fun called Pontoon Sunday. Can you imagine that? Imagine you just picked it out and you won it. Can you feel that? It's fantastic. And now imagine for a moment how you'd feel if you had a great friend who said, just come on over to my house. Come on over for the afternoon. We're going to invite some other people over. I have a boat. I'm going to take us out on the boat. Someone else said, I've got some drinks. I'm going to bring over some fun drinks. Someone else said, I've got some great organic food. They said, I'm going to bring over some food. Just come over and join us. Feel that. And now feel if someone said, oh, you're looking to have a vacation? You want a place for a vacation? Well, guess what? I have this amazing place down in the Ozarks, and beautiful, beautiful home. Would you like to use it for a week? Feel that? So now here's a funny thing that you may or may not be present to. In your awareness, how would this feel? Is there any distinction between sharing in the great good, experiencing it, and having it or owning it? Sharing in it and getting to experience it, or owning it? You don't have to share your answer with anyone, but just breathe into that for a moment and really feel it. Does it feel different to me if I get the invite from a friend? Do I feel any different about that home in the Ozarks that a friend said, if you would like, you can use this home for a week? Do I feel any different with that than I would from having the HGTV sweepstakes and saying, would you like to have this home? If I feel any different about the boat rental, the community getting together, whatever it is, winning a boat trip versus owning it, planning it, being in control. If I feel any different about being in your backyard and experiencing the glory of your magical backyard in all of its bamboo shoots and coves and sacred places, if I feel any different about that than if I owned it myself, just take a look at that. Herein lies part of the issue in our consciousness. When we get ourselves tied up and twisted with the concepts of separation. The concept of separation and the concept of ownership keeps us more distant from our joy, our peace, our gratitude, and our happiness, our real happiness, than many things we would ever imagine. Ownership. When we are craving ownership, the opposite of not having that ownership is a feeling of lack consciousness, is a feeling of not having, is a feeling of worthiness not given. Oh, but they, but not me. That's the issue of ownership. Our society has a disease somewhat, a disease that leads people into the illusion, or a disease through which people lead themselves into the illusion that having and owning means happiness, means more good, means more God, means more joy, means more worth. Has anyone ever owned a lot? Has anyone ever owned something that is draining to take care of, whether it be a relationship, a job, a piece of property? Anyone ever owned something that is more than they bargained for? See, ownership doesn't mean happiness. Amen? Experience, pure experience of happiness is a moment. It's a moment of presencing the moment that is before you in the fullness without all of the limited ideas about who, what, where, when, how it's coming to me. but it's fully being present in the gratitude of the moment. When we're not in that state or that space in consciousness, we lead ourselves into dark valleys. We lead ourselves into separation. Ownership is overrated. If you look at the Native American principles, right? If you look at the global worldview, do you know that they're even selling space in the sky now? I'm not kidding. Like if you go to New York City, you know, there are the buildings, but then there's the space above the buildings. Space in the sky. That space, even though it's not a building, non-local, is potential, is it not? Potentiality. How far will humanity go to separate out what is for sale and what is potential creating space? Did anyone ever think, anyone with me, in thinking they could never sell water? And they is a funny word because there is no they, right? It's us and them and they and I. I could never live in a world where they sell water. I remember when I saw the first thing of water with a bunch of soda, and I thought, come on. Like I would put money in there to get a water out when I could get a soda. Nuts, right? I mean, really nuts. Did you not think that? The first time you saw it, you thought, forget it, you silly people. It is never going to happen. Nice try. I'd like to see a show of hands of people who have purchased water and not from the local utility company. Right? I bet a lot of you have it in your trunk right now. Big thing of it, right? Be careful if it gets hot, it gets the plastic stuff in there. You can ask me about that later if you carry it around in your trunk. Control. The other thing that keeps us from our joy, from our abundance, from God consciousness in each moment is that concept of control. Control has to do with the time, the place, when we get something, how we get something, where we get it, whether it's an experience, a thing, a person, a job, it doesn't matter. But where we get our needs met and controlling where that comes from. If you've ever been in an intimate relationship, you know this very intimately. You know very much how much the psyche wants to control what it gets and from where. The concept of the soulmate is a concept plagued with that limited consciousness. The more someone enjoys someone else, the more someone feels like every single need I have can be met through you. Every single one, every single need. You are so magnificent if it is just you and I staring at each other for the rest of our lives. There will never be another need in my life. There will never be another need in my life. There will never be another need in my life. Do you feel that, though? Is that not the reality of our psyches? And then as spiritual progress and spiritual maturity kicks in, we start going, wait, this is a great girlfriend. I can really talk to her. Wait, here is a really intelligent, spiritually fulfilling conversation. That just turns my spiritual crank. Oh, there is just great givingness, that spirit of givingness, mothering, love that I've just been looking for in the physical realm. There it is. Ooh, there is some fun. There is some fun. We get ourselves caught up, don't we? And we sit here and we go, love it, but not mine, and I can't control it. I don't have access to it all the time. Great, but it's not my own gift, it's her gift. I can't arrange flowers like that, so it's not with me all the time and every second when I want it. when I want it, right? Oh, that one, but that one doesn't live at home with me. Do you know what it would feel like if that lived at home with me? Don't I deserve that? This one, joy and fun. You know, it's great to have it. I have it here, 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 here in my life, but I don't have it right here. I don't have it right here. Therefore, it doesn't exist in the fullness of my joyful experience. Because I don't have it right here, and I can't get it all the time. I actually have to move my head. I have to do some work. I have to take my head, and I have to move it from here to here to be able to receive it. Maybe sometimes it's available. Maybe sometimes it's seemingly not. But if it doesn't come in the form, the shape, the source that I wanted in any moment, I am going to lessen my happiness. Are you following me? There is a belief in my mind, a structure in my consciousness, something in my field that tells me I should be more excited if I won the lottery than if I'm sharing an afternoon with friends. I should be more excited if my job looks like this and that and this and that, and if all the things that I think I ever wanted came together in the perfect package exactly like I determined it, rather than some unseen miracle, some unforeseen, unplanned event of gratitude where I never thought I would be open to that. I never thought I would consider that. And here I am, having given up things that I thought I was looking for. And I found out that everything I need and have ever needed was always right here. And the only thing I had to do was take my eyes and circulate them. The only thing I had to do was take my emotional field and stop closing it off to that which I can control and own, because isn't control and ownership an illusion anyway? Who has a plan? Who has a plan, an insurance plan with the divine, and where they have listed everything that they'd like to take with them? Anyone planning on taking anything with you? Does anyone have anything they like? Anyone have anything you've purchased? Not going to take it with you, are you? I mean, King Tut tried. And who knows? You know, I've thought when I've visited Egypt, I've thought, man, if they just personally raided all of the tombs and then sold it all, like that pollution problem could become like cleaned up like this. Everyone could be eating really well and be very healthy and have care. Just like circulate the stuff. Do we pay attention to our feelings? Do we pay attention to our thoughts? Do you trust your feelings and trust your thoughts? There's a paradox there. Trusting your feelings and trusting your thoughts is one of the most mature things on a spiritual path, and trusting your feelings and trusting your thoughts is one of the most dangerous and reckless things we could ever do on this spiritual journey. Are you following me? There are feelings and there are thoughts that are rooted and grounded in love, faith, strength, God consciousness, intelligence, illumination. Keep going. And then there are thoughts and there are feelings that are grounded and rooted in separation, ownership, control, ego, lack, physical form, rather than the non-local, rather than consciousness, rather than the field. Walking down one road will simply bring us on a long walk back to the other. And spiritual grounding is being able to recognize once the foot has gone on the other path so that we can start redirecting it back to where we would choose consciously to be. So do we pay attention to the sound of oneness or the sound of separation? When we wake up and we can begin to pay attention, we can start to pray attention. Anytime you close your heart, anytime the concept comes to mind of mine, not mine. Anytime the concept comes to mind of control, I'd like to be at that place in my life now, in this way, at this time, when, why, how, where. Anytime those come up, we can just breathe into the aspect of our nature that very naturally is pulled towards attachment to craving, towards separation and unity, towards other and self. And here's a tool that some of you may know well. Some of you may never have tried it, but we can try it on today. Because I believe that these states of consciousness that pull us into ideas of separation, ideas of control, ideas of lack, that lead us not in the path of righteousness, not in the path of that which is holy and good and love and light, but lead us to separation, lead us to anxiety, lead us to fear, lead us to lack. I believe that all of those are simply addictions. They're just addictions. Addictions in consciousness, addictions in mind, emotional addictions, mental addictions, physical addictions. But there's no big deal to an addiction unless you've got it plugged in, right? There are some spiritual concepts out there that there is something always fueling them, that there is a power that is always fueling them. In Unity, we teach no. There is one power. It is this electrical cord. It is everywhere present. In its absolute state, it is powering everything, generating the activity of each moment. But yes, as co-creators, we have the ability to direct it seemingly like a cord and plug it into different things. So what do we want to plug it into? Do we want to plug it into the illusions, or do we want to plug it into the spiritual reality of this universe, the spiritual truth, the powerful practice of being a co-creator? That's our choice. Completely our choice. Addiction makes it seem like it's not, right? Because on the simplest level, I like it because I like to say we're all addicts. We really are. I know. Cancel. I am not. But if there is anything that you have ever wanted to stop doing and you haven't stopped it yet, if there is anything that you have wanted to start doing and you haven't started it yet, right? Because an addiction is simply knowing a higher way and not yet choosing it. Knowing a higher way and not yet choosing it. So the tool then becomes simply to have awareness when these moments arise, and humbly, just like many in our world that have healed themselves, that have said yes to the power of healing, to just say, "Hi, my name's Erin, and I'm an addict." Really? My name's Erin, and I'm an addict. When I see that thought, that emotion, that behavior that is drawing me into the path that I do not prosper down, drawing me into the consciousness that I do not want to multiply, demonstrate, or lead other people to. It's simple, we make it complicated. The second part is this. Because many people in Unity, and if you don't know the "Hi, my name is Erin, I'm an addict," that comes from "My name is Erin, I'm an alcoholic," right? But I supplemented the word addict because that's the consciousness that many people roll in and out of that concept. And a lot of Unity people, myself included, have some mixed feelings about that statement. Why? It's affirming. I just said my I am is something that I do not want to be. I just said my I am is something that I do not want to be. Cancel, yuck. But if you try to take that statement away from a recovered alcoholic, are you wise? No, I don't think so. This is why I don't think so. The I am that is being discussed there is the little self, the ego self, is the separate self. Any other word can be replaced in that space. That is a limited little separate self. And I think everyone that's in the program understands that distinction very deeply. And when those words are used, it's just a check for the consciousness. It's just a check for the ego mind to say the Christ presence, the enlightened state of consciousness, the cosmic Christed self, the highest soul of my being, the source of source, is right here and right now and in charge of this ship and in charge of this creation and in charge of this consciousness. So the second part to this tool is, hi, my name's Erin and I'm an addict. Saying this to myself, not to everyone, don't worry. I'm going to go around Lee's Summit. Hi, my name's Erin and I'm an addict. No. Hi, my name's Erin and I'm an addict. I request the assistance of I am. I call forth the power of my I am. See, my I am is not an ego. It is not anything that could even own anything if it tried, because it is non-local, it is expansive, it is expressive, it always has its needs met, it is always in the glory, it is always in the kingdom or the queendom, it is always everywhere, knowing that the experience of God is upon me and gratitude is my divine birthright. So are we willing to let go of the lack and limitation for the one intelligence, the one substance, and the one life? I invite us to breathe into this moment, breathe into a moment, and imagine a world where there is not a concept of separation. Imagine a world where the inevitable illusion of ownership is a reality in consciousness. Imagine a world where we recognize that substance fuels ideas in mind, which create matter and form. That everything before it existed physically was an idea, and that power to ideate is free, renewable, constant, and yours. I want to close with this reading from the book, God Will Work With You, but Not For You. God will work with you, but not for you. All people have great moments of baring their very souls to the urge within them to forever seek that oneness of divine mind which centers their consciousness. When you hear a happy child cry out its love for all the world and everything in it, that is the great moment of response to the soul urge to attain oneness with God. When you hear the whisperings of the forest and the sweet music of warbling birds, the buzzing and droning of bees and insects' wings, and the majestic pounding of the surf on the great rocks and the sandy shores, with inner ears attuned to the infinite, you are responding to that urge of your soul to attain your divine state of universal oneness. When man expresses love for other humans, he individualizes them and measures his love out to each one in different measure, but his love for nature is love for one. The voice of nature is God's voice speaking to us his way and in his language, its way and in its language, her way and in her language, the way and in the language. It didn't say that. He who knows the inner ears are attuned to its mighty rhythms, knows in them only the harmonies of God's love. We are here to share that love. Namaste.